Hi, everybody. This is Ken Wilson. Once upon a time, I broadcast blues hockey. I always listen to Let's Go Blues Radio. It's everything you'll want as a blues fan. Oh, baby.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
60 Pickleball is an industry leader in high-end pickleball paddles. Use discount code CPRICE10 to get 10% off at 60pickleball.com. Don't get stuck on the court with an inferior paddle. Go next level with 60.
Have you subscribed to the LGB Minute podcast yet? It's a 5-minute weekly St. Louis Blues podcast hosted by Jeff Ponder that is released multiple times a week to fill the gap between Let's Go Blues Radio episodes. Subscribe today.
Get ready to hear some noise tonight. You're just seconds away from Let's Go Blues Radio.
The Blues score! Oh, baby! The Blues score! McKinnon shoots and scores! Cornell ahead to Hall. He's got a breakaway. Safety shoots. He scores! Oh, baby, do you believe this? Scores in a drive. He's baby! Chris Pronger! Wow, what great goaltending! They score! Joe Murphy! The Twister! Shaking hip to hip. Sellout crowd. Oh, baby!
Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
Welcome to episode 30 of season 14. This is episode number 511 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated. Well then, I guess there's only one thing left to do. Win the whole fucking thing. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Let's Go Blues Radio. Check out the LGB Minute wherever you get podcasts. It provides you with a daily look into the St. Louis Blues in a quick hit fashion. Smash that subscribe button wherever you get podcasts. You got a little logo up in your top left there, Kurt. That's interesting. Little OBS studio. Is that you?
Yeah. No. What?
There's a Blues logo in the top left of your screen.
And you got a cup in the top right of yours. It's a new graphic in the middle.
Oh, that's cool.
Or the playoffs, yeah.
Sorry, I'm totally ADHD. Totally just kicked in. My bad.
I ain't got shit.
Did you say nothing, Bill?
Did you say OBS?
Yeah, I thought that was like an OBS thing you were doing with.
No. We haven't used OBS in a long time.
Microphone. Yeah, I haven't either. All right, it's Wednesday, April 23rd. Jeffmas Eve, as many call it here in St. Louis. We are streaming live to the masses. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder. I'm joined by the incredible, sprawling goaltender, Bill Day, and the excellent fan in the stands, Kurt Price. The agenda for tonight includes the Jets taking a 2-0 series lead on the Blues, a preview of Game 3, a look around the league, and more on this not whited out edition of Let's Go Blues Radio. Gentlemen, we are in the midst of the playoffs. We will talk about the Blues here pretty soon, but overall, been some exciting playoff games.
Yeah, and we'll get into the games a little more detail and give our thoughts and everything. But man, it seemed like a missed opportunity in Game 1. But no, it's been fun. I thought the Blues have been right with Winnipeg most of the way. So some other good games in other series too.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Man, I'm rocking the Habs jersey tonight because, of course, I had to watch the game earlier tonight, and holy shit, Logan Thompson, goalie performance of the playoffs so far with the third period he put on. Yeah, it's been pretty outstanding, and Binner,
nice
with the cup.
Binner's had I feel like he's played very well. A couple weird ass goals on him, especially in Game 1. But yeah, we've seen some really good goaltending performances, I think, overall. Hellebuck's look good, but yeah, in all the playoffs, I think there's been some really nice goalie saves, and they've looked good. It's been fun.
It's been fun, but it's been frustrating too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
For sure.
I have to keep telling myself that this is just bonus hockey for the Blues. We were not supposed to be here. So,
well, yeah, and that's a nice way to look at it. But I think once you're in, you get greedy, right? It's funny because it's like the Blues this season. The expectations were that they were, pretty much a bubble team, and that's where they ended up. And the Cardinals this season, their expectations were not high at all. They're fairly low, but now they're losing some games, and people are pissed off. I'm like, well, this is kind of what you expected, right? So.
Right. This is
if,
why nobody went to opening day.
I mean, it's funny how somebody can say this team is not very good, and then they get pissed off when they're playing and they're not very good. The Cardinals I'm talking about, and it's
I think it's because fans they want to be surprised in a good way, because it's like I could not have lower expectations, so they have to play better than my expectations, right? And it's like. No, they're going to play right at where you expected them to be.
Yeah, I think you want to be wrong. You want if you're down on the team, you want to be surprised, and it's fun. I guess you see the inconsistencies, and you see where they're lacking, and you get frustrated. You're like, just I can see it. Can't you guys see it? Fix it.
Yeah. Just fix that.
Yeah. Well, did you see the article Myrtle put out in the Athletic today about the teams? I think might have been McAdoo, but the teams that are the happy to be here teams, and what everything is, and the analysis of the Blues was, yeah, they're happy to be here, but if they get knocked out, it looks like a missed opportunity.
I think what throws a wrench into the whole works as far as happy to be here is the 12-game win streak. Yeah, and I think people were so high on this team, and then you get some of the national guys saying, "Hey, look out for the Blues; they can make some noise in the playoffs." They're
right.
peaking at the right time.
Right, so. And we all still have 2019 on the mind.
Yep, and that's something, Kurt, you called out a couple weeks ago that this is not the 2019 team, and it's so funny that you said that. And Bill, I don't remember if. No, I don't think you were playing goal for us, but it was literally a day after that came up in one of our shows, and I had my ice hockey team. We were all sitting around, and one of my teammates was like, "Oh man, doesn't this give you 2019 vibes?" And I'm like, "No,
stop it!
No, it doesn't." And I just think that's just you look at a team that wasn't supposed to be here, and now they're here, but the people forget the first part of that with 2019.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be there, then they weren't, then they were. So
that was pointed out.
Different story.
Yeah, that was pointed out by somebody. I forgot who it was. Some analyst, some Blues analyst, and they were talking about that. And they said, "No, well, the differences are this. That 2019 Blues team was supposed to be a cup contender. They were supposed to be one of the teams favored to win, and they just got off such a terrible start. So that's different. That team, yes, that team
who is still coaching.
That team was, that team was built to win a cup. Hopefully, this team was not. I mean, eventually that's the goal, but this team was in a retooling stage. So. And then all of a sudden we're in the playoffs, and I get it. You get in, you got a chance, and Cup crazy, right? The 90s promotional stuff by the NHL, early 2000s, whatever it was, which was great. But yeah, you get in the playoffs. Everyone's got the tinfoil Stanley Cups they're bringing to the games and stuff, and you have those pipe dreams of what if, right? So let's see how much damage we can do. Can we upset some teams? And it's only 4 rounds, right? We just have to win 4 out of 7. That's it.
Yep.
So
I agree. We had a YouTube comment that is for some reason not showing right now. Let me pull that up real quick.
Is it Justin Scott? No.
It is. There is okay, there's one from Justin Scott, but yeah, there's one I think it came from earlier. It was called Breck Shea Burner. What, from y'all's perspectives, is the reason the Blues have faded in the third period repeatedly? I just think we can talk about a regular season in another breath, but for playoffs, Winnipeg's just the better team. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it's just Winnipeg is going to keep shoving that puck down your throat. And, it's a thing where if you've got 4 lines rolling, like let's just say the Blues did in 2019, if you've got the superstar potential, if you've got a fully healthy defense, which I don't think Colton Parayko is right now, I think
Definitely
that is
not.
part of the problem we're seeing that with that is I just don't think this team's not there to be able to compete at a high level late in a game against a team like Winnipeg.
I think too that the Blues in the first game they had a lead going into the third, and so they did not play the third period the way they played the first two. Now I'll give credit to Winnipeg for helping the Blues not play that way. But, the Blues weren't pressuring. They weren't sending 2 guys on the forecheck. There's just 1 guy on the forecheck when they're dumping it in. They didn't really try and pressure. And it seemed to me like they were trying to play conservative, play it safe, no mistakes, don't get caught up ice. And I mean, we've seen that movie before where you do it too early in the third period, and they did it really early in the third period. And the Jets tied it midway through, and then they scored the winning goal with a minute and whatever to go. So that just, you can't. Winnipeg's like you said, Jeff. Winnipeg is the better team. So they are stacked. And if you have a lead in the third, I thought the Blues played the stats and otherwise say otherwise, but I thought the Blues played a pretty good first and second period against Winnipeg in game 1. I thought they played fine. I didn't like that they seemed to play differently in the third. I didn't like that. I didn't like they eased up. They tried to, it's one thing if it's effective. If you can do that effectively and just shut them down in the neutral zone and the blue at our own blue line, and okay. I mean, if you're known for that, if you're such a staunch defensive team where you can make that happen, but I don't think the Blues are built that way. So I would have liked to have seen the Blues just maintain their intensity the entire
I also
game.
think we saw an inexperienced playoff team at the end of game 2 as well. I think, and again, we'll get into this in
game 1
way
too,
greater detail
with the penalties.
But I think with game 2 especially, they were not clicking. There was like how many missed passes, how many fumbled pucks. You mentioned the forecheck wasn't there. There was just a lot, I think, of inexperience on the ice that led to them kind of looking, and I hate to use the term, but like kind of looking like a nervous team, thinking we can't go down 2-0. We have to get the next goal and at least get this to overtime. And I think an experienced team like we saw again in 2019 and years before, I think it was, hey, guys, go out there and play your game. We'll get the goals. If we don't get them tonight, we're going to get them in game 3. So I just think we saw a little bit of the inexperience of this team.
Right. And just to, chime in here on the flip side of the inexperience of the youngsters, the veterans, I agree with the comment that they played nervous and they weren't clicking because the veterans didn't make smart plays, right? You didn't have like on the final play, 5 guys in the corner, the puck comes out to the slot and there's nobody there because it took 5 guys to dig it out. And that's veterans not having a presence of mind to capitalize on a situation.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that late in game 2. We'll get into that later because, I've definitely got some thoughts on that as well. Let's get into some of these comments. We've got Justin Scott in the chat saying, "Hey, fellas, I hope you're doing well. I honestly am not angry about the situation we find ourselves in. The games have been close. I may be in the minority, but I still believe they can come back." And I'm with you, Justin. I actually do think this team could still come back and at least tie the series. It's just, in looking at the first 2 games, and yes, it was very close, very, very close. But I just think, again, at the end of the day, we saw Winnipeg's talent and depth come through for them as opposed to the Blues.
In the third, especially in the third period. When crunch time in the playoffs in the third period, when you've got to play your best hockey, they did, and the Blues didn't. Whether it be game plan issues, a lot of times when a team will sit back in the third period, that's not the game plan. It's the players in the ice kind of just taken upon themselves. They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to get caught up ice. They want to play defense because they've got the lead, right? In game one, they had the lead. So I don't think that's really a coaching thing that happens, because I've heard coaches say time and time again, well, that's not the plan. But the players have the mindset they just don't want to make mistakes, and they want to play it safe sometimes, which I understand. At a certain point in the third period, if there's 5 minutes to go in the third, 6 minutes to go, yeah, absolutely. Go into a shell and try and protect that lead, but not with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I think too that in the game one, Blues had the lead in the third period going in. Game one they did. Game two, tied going to the third. So in the third period, the Blues have been in good shape going in both games. It's that third period and that finishing aspect that the Blues have to work on, because Winnipeg's coming at them, and they're not adjusting to that.
Guys, we are talking about hockey way too soon in this hockey show. So let's get into beers of the episode. Actually, before we get into beers, those of you watching on the live stream, I am wearing my beautiful blue Let's Go Blues radio jersey. So I want to let those who know who bought the white ones, they are being created right now. So I'm hoping it'll be a few weeks. Hopefully the Blues will still be in the playoffs when they come. That'd be great. Otherwise, they will be here. I would think sometime probably mid to late May. But for those of you who bought one, and by the way, one of you on this show still owes me for the jersey. So
maybe me.
Yeah, that would be that guy.
I'll get you.
You're good. But yeah, so that is those are on the way. So just letting everybody know. Justin Scott in the chat says, personally, I think we need Boom Boom Gunnarsson back in the lineup and come out of retirement. Yeah, we need that big overtime goal from the defenseman. We need him taking a piss at the urinal, telling the coach, I just need one more chance.
Yeah. I need that cockiness, that swagger.
Yeah. Well, official beers of episode number 511. Remember, you can follow each of us on the Untapped app. I am at jponder94. Kurt is at cprice12. And Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. Big Beaver asked, what size you rocking, Jeff?
Jersey.
I'm hoping he's talking about my jersey. Don't ask my wife that question. This would be an XL, sir. So you can see it hangs a little bit, not too bad. So that's the way I like them. Again, don't ask my wife about that. I will start. I have a Four Hands Brewing. I don't think I've ever had this on the show before. The Foam First Czech Pilsner. Very light and airy. It's very good. Let's see, 4.8% alcohol by volume. And it doesn't give me any description. But yeah, it's very light, nice springtime beer. Yeah, and you can see the color is nice and lagery. But yeah, the Czech Pilsner, Foam First, very good. Kurt.
I've got, I had this on the show before, the Public House Giddy Goat Coffee Milk Stout. Yeah, it's good. It was in the fridge, and I do need to get rid of it. And my beer is much darker than Mr. Ponder's. And I'm also having this out of my Beer Drinkers of America mug, which was my grandpa's. So,
ooh, nice.
I enjoy that mug. He was a member of the Beer Drinkers of America. He did enjoy his beer.
Local 605. That's a union I would join in a heartbeat.
Yes, all of us would.
So I am going straight can tonight. No mug for me.
You're raw dogging it.
I'm raw dogging it, and I'm going with a theme, something the Blues need tomorrow. A big-hearted effort. I've got the big-hearted IPA from Bell's out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Way to go, Western Michigan University. Congrats again on your championship. But yeah, Imperial IPA. It's IPA season, fellas. So yeah, I'm drinking IPA. Sorry.
Isn't it always IPA season for like a lot of people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's actually,
when I was
pretty good.
So Austin, Texas is where I was last week. Well, I missed the show, and Yeah, it was funny talking to people down there. They're all talking about how great IPAs are, and I'm like, you fucking hipsters.
Wait.
Like, no.
Did you break out the line about those who like IPAs don't have the taste palate because they can't taste the extreme levels of bitterness?
No, I did not want to be a douchey Midwesterner, so I did not say that.
Because that's, I mean, the people have, varying degrees of palates, and as far as how they can and can't taste different levels of bitterness. And those who don't like IPAs have more a broader palate than those who do like IPAs.
Palate, yeah.
I wouldn't say refined. That's snobby. I would say a broader. Refined sounds snobby.
Okay. Yeah, you had flashed it up here, but let's go ahead and bring him up again. Baked Beaver chimes in with his PBR 16 ounce per usual, and as always, Fort Worth. I'm kidding. FTW for the win. Yeah, PBR is my favorite cheap beer, so I'm with you 100%. Love me some PBR.
We should.
I know Stag is probably the favorite of the show. Of those,
mine anyway. We should set up a PBR and a Stag and race them.
Yes. Bill, are you a Stag guy at all?
No, not really.
No. What's your go-to cheap?
What's your favorite dollar beer, Bill?
Favorite dollar beer?
Dollar draft, dollar bottle. What are you going with? You going with Natty Light? You going with
Oh hell no! Oh, hell no! Nothing like that.
The Beast? You going Beast?
Ooh,
no,
Beast.
No,
Old
no.
style.
Nothing.
Old style.
Nothing that you could get away with at a high school party.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm not a huge fan of like dollar beers.
That was the question.
So
this guy's refined over here.
The regular. So I'll go the original line in Google Lager. That's
not a cheap beer.
Dollar beer.
It's not expensive though.
Oh,
but it's not. We're talking like.
What we mean.
So the last one I had was probably. No, I'm not a PBR guy. Probably the last one that I had that I enjoyed was Stag at Snuggerud. Right.
Okay.
God.
So.
Hey Bill, what's your favorite cheap wine? Well, I've got this $180 bottle in my cellar.
All right, if we're asking dollar bottles of wine, I'll pick the $65 Merlot I have.
Yeah, right. For that girl, Bill can't lower himself to cheap beer.
That was funny.
Pretty well.
The struggle that he had.
No,
was hilarious.
No, I
line in Google. Come on.
When I started drinking, which I was that weird guy that didn't drink until he turned 21, and when I started drinking Guinness. So
you just drank your meal.
I did
basically.
Yeah. And
have you guys ever tried the beer diet, where you do like instead of like having lunch, you drink like a Guinness or some kind of Doppelbox?
No.
That
sounds like life would be a lot happier.
Apparently, it is like actually like healthy. Like there's been like monks who have done it, and they're like they go and get tested, and they're like, yeah, my numbers came back incredible.
My liver sucks. My liver's shot,
right.
but
yeah,
I'm healthy otherwise.
No, I do remember the first time I ever got Guinness in a pitcher, and the waiter brought it to us. Yeah, it was.
How long did that take to pour?
It took a while for us to get it. I forget the name of the place. It
actually
used to be across.
It came as a cement block, and they just had to break it apart and put it in the pitcher.
What would take longer to order? A pitcher of Guinness or a Chicago deep dish pizza?
Order them together, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Come at the same time.
They'll come out like an hour later.
But,
you eat those things. You eat and drink those things together. Your body will just implode.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
God.
That's what caused spontaneous
heavy
human combustion.
Yeah.
Two pieces of Chicago deep dish and a pitcher of Guinness. You're done for the day.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the first time I did that, the waiter brought it over to us, and he's like, "Well, now I guess all you need is an orange, and you guys don't need anything else for the next week." Like, Really?
And orange?
Never heard that. Yeah, apparently the one nutrient it's lacking is vitamin C.
So if you were to get a Guinness with the Blue Moon orange on the rim of the glass,
you don't need to eat. Your nutrition is taken care of.
Okay,
there you
so
go. You're good
really
for the whole day.
So why don't bars do that? They should serve you a Guinness with a Clementine.
Well, maybe that'll be our when we open a bar, that's our thing.
Yeah, for lunch. Yeah, as a 16-ounce Guinness and a Clementine.
We'll call it the businessman special.
All you need.
What's the name of our bar? CBJ?
No.
CBJ?
No.
BJC. That's already a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna work.
CBJ? I don't know. Whatever.
DPs?
We'll work on it.
PTs.
There you go.
PT's sports bar.
All right. Bill was like, I apologize to absolutely fucking nobody, says Justin Scott. Yeah, pretty much.
For those who don't know, PT's is a gentleman's club on the Illinois side.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I mean, people listening, in Canada,
in Colorado.
Who knows?
I didn't even know we had gentlemen's clubs out here in
Oh,
St.
yeah.
Louis, Illinois.
And I do believe that PT's is no longer. Is it being converted into something else?
It's called JBC.
I don't think it's a thing anymore. I think it was sold and it's going to be something else.
Yeah, I used to drive by that every day on my way into work.
Because you worked there.
Well, yeah. No, I work next door at Diamond.
You worked the barbecue grill at 3 in the morning.
I was that guy.
And on stage too, Bill Lita. Grilling. Yeah. He's just up there grilling. That's all he's doing, and the men love it.
He's on stage flipping burgers.
Look at those char marks.
Those grill marks are sexy.
Look at those.
That's hot.
The old clientele had the stretch marks. Bill's got the grill marks.
Yes, I love it. All right. Well, I hate to break up this fun Bill and his grill marks.
That's one of the weirder tangents we've been on in a while.
Yeah, it is. Let's take a commercial break and reassess how we want this show to go.
Reevaluate.
When we get back, we will talk more Blues and Jets playoffs as well as everything else going on in the NHL right now. Best time of the year. This is a hockey fans' Christmas. We will be right back. You are listening to Jeff, Kurt, and Bill on Let's Go Blues Radio.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the paddle down.
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Put past the Hall. He shoots. He scores.
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Attention pickleball players. 6-0 Pickleball is an industry leader in high-end pickleball paddles. From the Paddle of the Year Double Black Diamond to the Kevlar-faced Ruby paddles, 6-0 has the perfect paddle to take your game to the next level. And while I have your attention, consider upgrading your pickleball bag to the highly touted Pro Tour bag or the Performance Backpack in some fantastic colors. 6-0 is also your place to stock up on paddle grips and edge guards. 6-0 has everything you need to elevate your game. And as long as you're playing well, you might as well look good too with 6-0 6-0's performance shirts, hats, and arm sleeves. Use discount code CPRICE10 for 10% off your entire purchase at 60pickleball.com. That's CPRICE10. Don't you dare get stuck on the court with inferior equipment. Go next level with 6-0.
We already know that you love hockey, and you obviously already love the Let's Go Blues radio podcast, but what about filling the gap between weekly Let's Go Blues radio episodes? That's where the LGB Minute comes in. Hosted by Jeff Ponder, the LGB Minute is an entertaining, down and dirty 5-minute St. Louis Blues podcast released multiple times a week to keep you informed of all things St. Louis Blues. So make sure to subscribe to the LGB Minute anywhere you listen to podcasts, like right now. Do it now. Just click subscribe. It's easy. For the love of God, please.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
So, as we mentioned, we are going to get into some Blues and Jets action here. Let's talk about Game 1 for a little bit before we get into talking about previewing what's going to happen tomorrow night. Blues did lose this one, as we all know, 5-3 Saturday night in an absolute heartbreaker. Yeah, I thought for sure that the Blues were going to pull this one out. I really did. Did you guys get that feeling? Like when they had the lead, I thought this is going to the Blues. They're going to pull this out.
When the first few minutes of the third period went by and we had the lead still, and we're getting 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes into the third period, I thought, okay, I mean, we've settled in. We can do this. And then obviously not, they tie the game with midway through the third. And then the shitty aspect of was I follows goal. Was that was the Bennington's stick got hung up on Parayko at the side of the net? Was that the one?
No. I follows goal. So. Bennington his stick wasn't in the right position. Lifted his pad slightly and it went under.
I'm watching it.
Yeah,
now.
He was. Yeah, I follows in front of the net, and and he just slid it in on him.
Yeah, he jammed away and it went under his pad. That was kind of just a bad break. I thought the first goal was just the power play goal. The power play goal, yeah. Shifley's goal.
The one. Oh God, there's a
bad, totally just unlucky. Just the pass across that goes off the stick and then up over Bennington is like you can't do anything about that.
Well, let's say it too. I mean, that is a Blues playoff goal against, right? Like that's the type of goal we have seen way too many times. So when that went in, it's the playoffs. That's what happens.
Yeah, it took me until they did the replay at the beginning of the second period before I realized that went off Suter's skate. Because I'm like, I could not figure out why Bennington was so awkward going backwards into the net on that play.
I thought this game was interesting because I thought a couple of Winnipeg's goals were kind of, I don't know. The first one was for sure fluky. But the Blues goals in this game, they were snipes. I mean, they were picking the corner on Hellebuck. And I was coming into this game, one of the things that we talked about in the previous show was Hellebuck's past playoff performances. Obviously, elephant in the room, right? Because he hasn't played well in the playoffs. And then the Blues are just picking corners on him. And I'm like, you couldn't fault Hellebuck on any of those goals. I mean, ringing them off the corner and in, bar down, they're
well, and then
tough.
Sundqvist was that was just a weird play in front that just was a perfect snap by Sundqvist to put that in. But Thomas's shot at the opening goal of the playoffs. Oh my Lord, that was a beauty.
And that's Thomas's spot. He loves to go upper, right? I mean, that's his shot.
Yeah, but the Kyrou goal though.
That too.
Going like perfect upper 90 on the blocker side. It's not a typical shot you see from him, and it was like he knew exactly what he was doing, and he executed on it.
Awesome. And that's why I was kind of game one to me of the two was the one that the Blues let get away.
Yeah.
Game two, it is what it is. It was tied in the third period, but you have the lead in the first game. Midway through, you were playing, I thought, pretty well, and well enough anyway. A good road game, I thought, in the playoffs, and then Yeah, and they just allowed those 2 goals late. So it's like that game sucked because that game you had and it got away. So
and I thought, that the way that it got away was Winnipeg wound up taking advantage of the matchups, right? They were able to we had the misconnection between Binnington and Leddy, and that kind of led to a turnover, and the Blues got scrambly. It was the Shen line out there, and they iced the puck, and then they brought out the Scheifele Connor line, and that was a matchup the Blues don't want.
Yeah,
and Winnipeg took advantage,
and they scored right away.
Yeah.
That was who was out there? Who took that face off for the Blues?
It was Shen.
Was it Shen? Yeah. So ideally, I mean, well, Shen's a good face-off guy, but yeah, that misconnect on that icing hurt bad, obviously, because Winnipeg capitalized on that for the go-ahead goal. That was rough. A minute and a half to go, whatever. That was rough. I was worried. The longer this game goes tied, Winnipeg's at home. If it goes to overtime, I'm worried. Maybe it's just me in general being, late in a third period tie game or in overtime. I'm just like stressed out because it's like, especially on the road. It's just you don't have the change. You don't have the matchup, which coming home now. I mean, so in Winnipeg, the games were super close. Okay, could have won the first game, had lead in the third period, tied in the third period in the second game, 2-1 game. Super close. If coming home, if the Blues can take advantage of having last change, that could be big because the Blues have been outscored 4-0 on 5-on-5 in this series. So, yeah, I think
I want to comment on something you said earlier that I agree with you. I think, as the more game one went on, I thought, okay, like the Blues need to do something because the longer this goes on, the more I'm going to think all the momentum is going to go to Winnipeg. But I also thought if we can get this to overtime, like my thought was, let's get this to overtime. Winnipeg is surging at the end of the third. I thought the Blues can get it to overtime and they can come out with their top line. Maybe we see something different. Maybe all of a sudden the momentum can shift back to the Blues. They can maybe win this pretty quick in overtime. That was kind of my mindset. I was actually rooting for overtime because I thought, let's end this surge from Winnipeg. And then, like you said, Connor's, of course, fucking Kyle Connor scores a minute 36 left.
And from what I remember,
face-off circle.
Yeah. From what I remember, Connor in this game didn't have, a whole lot of chance. I thought the Blues did a pretty good job on Connor most of this game.
Right.
Because he was one of the guys we singled out. Like I said to Bill, I was like, if you shut down Connor in the series, you win the series. Yeah. I don't care what happens elsewhere. Connor is like the guy that's going to beat the Blues in this series.
So Connor had one shot on goal.
Yeah.
Up to that point.
Yeah. Right. So I was very.
He had one shot on goal the whole game.
And that was the goal.
That was
and
it.
So, yeah, and I took note. Like I was going into the third period. I'm like, man, we've done a good job on Connor in this game. He had, you heard his name a few times around the net, but he never really did anything. And I'm like, we're doing not too bad. Good job. Just keep this up, right? But he did get an assist in the third. So until the third period, he was,
Right. He got an assist on the
he did on the first goal.
The Iafallo goal.
And the Scheifele goal too.
Yeah.
So he had two. He had a goal and 2 assists in that game.
Yeah.
So but
so did Scheifele.
Yeah, but Connor's if Connor's getting some assists, that doesn't bother me as much. He just scores at will against us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I can hold, I think I said in the pregame show, if we can hold him to 2 assists all series long, we got this in the bag. And I'm like, he gets 2 assists in the first 2 periods, or whatever it was. So
same thing. I thought, man, if you can shut down Connor and Scheifele, and they're a deep team. There's other guys that can kill you, but yeah, if you can shut them down, I thought you take those 2 guys out of the equation. This, I think, is a very even matched series, especially with them having Ehlers out right now. Right. I thought, man, this is evenly matched. I like the Blues' defense. I like the Jets' defense. You take those 2 out of the equation. If Parayko and
Holloway,
Broberg,
no, his defensive partner,
Suter,
Fowler.
Fowler.
If Parayko and Fowler can just shut those guys down somehow, I thought, man, this is an even series, straight down to the wire. And those are the two guys that were worrying me. And lo and behold, leaders in goals, leaders in assists, leaders in points, plus minus. I mean, they're all over the board, killing the Blues right now. If it wasn't for them, and again, I mean, that's easy to say. They're the all-stars of the team, but it's just those are the two guys that I was like, they are going to make or break this series for the Blues. If they are shut down, Blues, I think, win this in 6. If they're not, Jets could win this in 4.
And in goal too, I liked Bennington in this I versus Hellebuck. If you're going to do goalie matchups, which is weird, but okay, head to head. I liked Bennington for us and Hellebuck for them. I was fine with that. You know, we all know how Bennington can play in the playoffs and big games, and he's played well in the series.
Right.
No issues with Bennington really. So yeah, but it's their top line. It's I mean, which you knew going in, right? So
yeah, I didn't, you know, the one goal that, you know, I didn't really like for Bennington was the II foul goal. He didn't keep his it sealed.
Yeah, I agree.
But overall he played well enough to get us a win in that game. Definitely played well enough in game 2 to get us a win. But yeah, again, I'll go back to the Fowler goal, the Connor goal was, you know, Shen, I think, went out to pinch and just left that gap that allowed Scheifele to get that pass through. And Bennington said, you know, he was trying to find it through traffic. He knew he was going to shoot it, but he has such a good shot. You can't predict where it's going to go. I would have liked to see his glove up there, and that's where he got beat.
Yeah, something I don't think we ever talked about earlier in the season was I said this to some friends the other day, and they agreed. I think a giant reason the U.S. lost to Canada in the Four Nations face-off was they didn't play Kyle Connor in the last game. They healthy scratched him. Wow. And I'm like, you need that guy out there. Like, I don't care who you're playing over him outside of, like, you know, your typical Austin Matthews, people like that. But, like, yeah, I said that
especially
at the time.
Against Jordan Bennington.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
right.
Kyle Connor's not playing in this game. I'm like, what are you thinking?
I'm watching the replay of the goal now, and Connor's he's hanging out in the slot, and then, you know, he's not really open. But then when who is it who passes to him? Schleifele curls off the boards. There's a lane there, and he just backs up away from traffic,
right,
and creates that space, and is a perfect pass, and is a perfect shot. And I mean, it's a nice play by Winnipeg. Looks like a hard play to defend.
Well, and it's funny too, because, like, we constantly talk about Kyle Connor being a Blues killer, which he is. We don't even really mention, at least up until this point, Mark Scheifele is a fucking Blues killer. He always plays great fucking hockey against the Blues.
Yeah, I don't have his stats up here, but he's always on the stat sheet too. It's just him and Connor.
Yeah, and you do the hockey stat cards. You mentioned if Parayko and Fowler could shut him down, Parayko and Leddy were the two worst players in both game 1 and 2 by the hockey stat cards, and we were all worried about Justin Falk. He's been the Blues' best player.
Yeah,
He
was in game 1. Yeah,
2 assists in this game, and I thought he played fairly well. He did have a bad turnover in game 2 that almost led to a goal, but other than that, I think he's looked very good. And that's something I've been harping on in the Let's Go Blues Minute is, you know, after game 1, I said if the Blues are going to win, Colton Parayko and Nick Leddy absolutely cannot be the worst players on the ice statistically, or at least analytically. And guess what?
Yep.
2 worst players again in game 2. And somehow Parayko actually, again, analytically, was worse in game 2 than he was in game 1, which is bad because actually I got it pulled up right here.
Yeah, it's bad.
He was his game score minus 2.29, which you don't know what game score is. It just takes into account all statistics, hits, block shots, like goals, assists, everything. And you basically, as long as you're positive, you're good. Blues had a lot of negatives in this game. Matthew Joseph was barely a negative. Nathan Walker, Jimmy Snuggerud, Braden Shen, Cam Fowler, Ryan Suter, Nick Leddy, and Colton Parayko, as opposed to Winnipeg, who did not have a negative player at all. So, again, analytics don't tell the whole story, but I think if you watch that play, you would agree Parayko and Leddy have not looked good in these first 2 games.
I mean, Connor and Scheifele, if you go on these stat cards, I mean, they were, what is that, a 3? Connor, God, he's 2.34, and Scheifele a 2.33. And then the Blues best player,
or their overall game score.
Their overall game score, individual offense. So
okay, individual offense, yeah 2.34, but overall game score, he was at 3.19. Was Connor, which is really good,
right?
Yeah, and in both games, Connor and Scheifele have been tremendous on the game scores, and even Luke Shen last game was one of the best players on the ice too, which I think he had 7 hits. The Shen boys are sure laying out some hits in this series, are they not?
Woo! Yeah. Oh my God! Well, and Winnipeg, if you look at the stat card for Winnipeg, they didn't just have all positive players. Almost everyone, there's like hardly anybody in the negative at all. I mean, Pionk was their, I guess, offensively, he was their worst performer, but
he's
overall,
kind of
he's
shutdown defenseman, though, right? He's
right. No, that's
what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, and so that's not really applicable.
Right.
And so, I mean, there's barely anything in the negative for Winnipeg in game 2. In game 1, there's a handful, but mostly positive overall for them too. It's like, yeah, I don't know. So you can look at these and analyze this, the advanced stats and how this plays out. Based on these, Winnipeg severely outplayed the Blues in the first 2 games. I didn't really see that. I mean, the third period, yeah, it made a difference, but first 2 periods, I thought the Blues played fine in the first game and the second game, really. It's just the third period. I keep harping on the third period, but the third period has killed the Blues in the first 2 games. They have not had good third periods. They haven't had an answer for Winnipeg in the third period.
Let's take a look at the deserve to win-o-meter.
I was just thinking about that.
Yep, I'm looking at it right now. So 1,000 game simulations on mine. Deserve to win-o-meter has Winnipeg at 57% and the Blues at 43.1%.
In game 1?
So, in game 1.
Yeah. That's interesting because if you look at the stat cards here, it shouldn't be that close.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Because they're both based on advanced stats and things like that. But the stat cards look heavily tilted in Winnipeg's favor.
Yep.
So it's okay. So we have a love-hate relationship with advanced stats.
We do.
Yeah, but the one thing that that doesn't take into account is the goaltending stats, right? And I would say that was going to be the worst game that Connor Hellebuyck plays in this series, right? The first game he gave up, 3 goals. We talked about it. They were super high quality shots.
Yeah.
But if you're going to score 3 goals on Connor Hellebuyck, you better win that game.
Yep. Yeah. And the stat was that after that game, he had given up 3 or more goals in 10 straight games.
Well, and
in the playoffs.
Before this game, he had given up 4 goals or more in 6 straight. So that game, the first game, ended that streak. So then the streak that was remaining was 3 goals, at least 3 goals in 10 games straight. And now game 2 ended that one.
So the Jets take a 2-0 series lead on Monday's game, which this one, again, I think game 1 was closer, but I think you could also make the case that this was also a very winnable game for the Blues as they only lost 2-1. And I don't know, again, third period, Kurt, I think that's a theme here because they only had 5 shots in the third period. Kyle Connor broke the tie only 1:43 into the third period. I know, shocker, right? Kyle Connor scored the game-winning goal. What? And I saw that Kyle Connor is the 4th player in the past 20 years to score the game-winning goal in consecutive games to open the playoffs. He joined Chris Kreider, Nathan McKinnon, and Nicholas Lidstrom to do that, which is impressive, but also goes to show this guy loves playing the St. Louis Blues.
The combined in the third period, the 2 games in the third period, the Blues have combined 7 shots on goal, and Winnipeg has 16.
So. We're totally getting dominated when it comes to possession and shots when we get to the third period. And I think you guys are completely right. The end of game one, they played not to lose instead of tried to keep attacking. I thought things were better in game two, but
I do too. But
one missed assignment, Bushnevich looking the wrong way, and Connor scores.
I did not like again their offensive ability and offensive urgency in this game. Again, I thought when push came to shove, this team has shown in the past, at least this season, that they can turn it on. We've seen them score some big empty or goals when they've got their goalie pulled. We've seen them score late in games, going back to that 12-game winning streak, that game against Detroit. Like, we've seen them be able to pull it out. But I did not see that in this game. We'll talk again. I want to talk about the very last play of the game. But before we get into that, Kurt and I have done a lot of talking. I think it's time we turn it over to Bill. Would you not agree? Bill, let's do our save of the week, which came in game two, unfortunately, right before the Jets scored. And again, we talked about this before. The fucking Blues broadcast did not even show a replay of this save. I had to go to Sportsnet, and man, was it a hell of a save. So, Bill, take it away.
All right. Thank you, boys. And while this gets going here, you'll see you got a little bit of a breakdown of the blue line. Fowler gets beat. Nemestikov finds Mason Appleton. I was going to say Applebaum. I've listened to too much Tribe Called Quest. Anita Applebaum. You got it going on. So Nemestikov finds Appleton, and Binnington with an absolutely unworldly save here, kicking out, and he had enough time to read this because Nemestikov really did kind of telegraph that the pass was coming. But what a great move by Nemestikov to leave Fowler's jockstrap at the blue line. Great pass, laid it flat, and Appleton had the whole lower corner. This should have been a goal, folks, but Jordan Binnington gives up his groin to make the save. Absolute thing of beauty here. One of the best saves you're going to see in the playoffs. Puck goes off the pad, up in the air, and there's no jet there to knock it back down. Goes over the net. Just absolute, like, my groin still hurts from watching this. What an amazing save by Jordan Binnington. And yeah, it is such a shame that the Blues broadcasters are just like, oh, that was a pretty good save, and not another mention because they had to sell some FanDuel product or something. And I'll my little soapbox here at the end of this is I cannot wait to stop paying for the FanDuel sports app. As soon as the Blues first round is over, I am canceling that shit. It's a garbage product, and I would like to see a little more focus on the game stuff from the Blues analyst crew. But absolute. Jeff read my mind. He didn't even ask me what the save of the week was. We knew what it was.
Here it is.
I literally sent you a message too after it happened. It said, "Well, I think we know what the save of the week is." I knew right away. I'm like, "That's it. That's got to be it."
Yeah.
And again, to not even get a Blues replay on that really drove me bonkers. And again, I know the Blues or the Jets scored within 2 minutes of that save, but it's like, go back to that. Come on.
It's the first period.
Big saves like that are just as awesome to watch, if not more awesome, than any goal the Blues are going to score. Go back and celebrate that.
That's happened before, where a great play happens right before break, and I thought they were going to show it as they went to break, but they didn't. They showed something else, and I think they came back from break, and they had some kind of promo they had to do, and then play starts, and they never went back to it.
Yep.
So it's like, that's totally, I don't know what, whatever.
An abortion of hockey coverage right there.
Yeah.
I mean, just awful.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
So they won't be on the air in Missouri because that's going to be illegal again soon. So you said abortion.
Oh, got it. Yep. Okay,
Yep.
got it. Yep. Yeah, good old Missouri.
Overturning the will of the people. That's what happens sometimes.
That's what we got to do. Who cares
Yeah.
if they voted that way? Let's end it anyway.
Yeah.
Dumbasses. All right. Anyway, yes, hell of a save. And again, this wasn't the only one. I mean, you said, Bill, that I picked it out for you because you knew that's what I knew you'd pick. But there was some. I mean, if it wasn't for that one, there's 4 or 5 from Binnington that we could have selected this week. He made a couple big ones, I thought, in the first period as well in that game, as well as the first game. I watched the first game with some friends over at Hot Shots, and yeah, I can't tell you how many times we were like, "Whoa, Binnington!" I mean, he's had a good series so far. You mentioned the one Iafallo goal. Outside of that, I have not hated any goal against him, and I think he's played very well.
Yeah, it was the we couldn't remember what the Parayko mix-up was. It was the game winner in game 2.
But,
that's right.
It was the stick getting hung up on Parayko. Yeah, that's
And I think this can be a theme that we can talk about for the rest of game 2.
Yeah.
To me, that showed that Parayko really is still playing hurt, because usually that's pretty easy pivot for him to make, and he just like kind of battleship turning into the goalie instead of
that was rough.
Slimming up and trying to stay out of his way.
That was rough because you saw Binnington's reaction, because he's going to his left, Binnington is, but his stick's not coming with him. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden holes open up, and I'm not saying he stops the shot because it was a high danger chance, but the chances of him stopping it go down drastically with his stick hung up, and he's all of a sudden there's holes because he goes to bring the stick over and he can't. So it's that just sucks. And 2 of the goals at that point in the series had been kind of like, well, Binnington's like, well, God damn it. The one that went off, hit off a body and then went up over him.
Right. And
we'll talk about the Snuggerud play here in a minute, I'm sure too. But with this one, that to me, same thing, Bill. I'm like, well, watching it live, I didn't even notice it hit Parayko. So my first thought as a Blues fan, when I see Binnington's stick on the ice, I think Kelly even said, and Binnington doesn't have a stick, and they score. Yeah. And my first thought was, oh man, maybe Connor bumped into him. Maybe that's goalie interference. And then I watched it, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing, Parayko? I mean, that was just an abortion of a play. State of Missouri has outlawed that play for Colton Parayko. I mean, just a bad play. And again, I think, and again, we're looking at game scores. Worst player on the ice for both teams, Colton Parayko. His game score minus 2.41, which is even worse than the previous game. Not looking good on that play. And Jordan Binnington, they're friends. I'm sure it's like, okay, just make up for it. But in the back of his head, he's thinking, Jesus Christ, Colton, what the fuck are you doing?
I've got to beat my own team now.
Yeah, I'm watching the replay here in slow-mo and just like watching Parayko as he just pivots that right foot around and just essentially just kicks Binnington's stick out of his hand.
Yeah.
And right when Binnington goes to slide across, it's like, God damn.
It's a very slow and awkward pivot from Parayko, and he is an excellent skater. So Bill's right in saying that I think if he's 100% healthy, he doesn't make a pivot like that.
And that sucks. And that's really sucks because those are the 2 goals they scored in this game. That goal and then the goal where Snuggerud kind of crashes into Binnington and kicks the puck in the net.
Yeah, I want to talk about that one.
Yeah. That sucks.
I was fucking pissed. And I'll say Coach Ponder came out and I said, bench that motherfucker. Because what are you doing? Of course, he comes back and scores, which I was happy about. Good for redeeming yourself, kid. You totally redeemed yourself.
And if he'd been benched, he wouldn't have scored.
Exactly. So that's why Coach Ponder is not coaching in the NHL. I was very upset with that play. And even after Snuggerud did score that goal at the end of the first, I'm still like, dude, that's a learning moment. You cannot. Well, and I'll say, like, so I don't know if you guys saw his quote after the game, and I want to mention this because, like I said, I kind of softened on it a little once he scored, but then I saw his quote, and I'm like, okay, hopefully you're just talking out of your ass because it seems like you didn't learn anything. What he said was, quote, I feel like I'm just trying to back check him, play the body on him. Puck happens to hit skates and stuff, and it just went in. It's an unfortunate bounce, but it happens. That's hockey. That's how hockey goes. I feel like it's that one play that can make the difference in the game, and it was unlucky for us that they got it. That was not luck, kid. That was stupidity. There is nothing.
I'm gonna disagree with you.
And I'm gonna second that disagreement with you.
He's checking a guy into his goalie. What are you doing?
No, he's back checking his ass off to try to get to the puck.
Disagree.
Right?
And he was, but the thing is that he was just a hair late. He's hustling his butt off. He's a hair late getting there. He doesn't cut off Scheifele, and Scheifele gets in between him and Bennington, and Scheifele either lost the puck or Bennington poked away, whatever it was, and it gets kicked out and then hits off Snuggerud skating in. I think it's an extremely unlucky goal. I don't know. I don't have a
yes.
You're well,
no
how
luck
do you,
at all.
You are never coaching ever again.
No, guys, come on. Think about it. You don't go in and lead with your shoulder right in front of your goalie. You go in and lead with your stick. You try to poke when he's in that tight.
It was the puck wasn't even I'm looking at the replay. If he goes in with his stick, okay, the puck is gone. Hold on a second. Who makes this? He loses it. So Scheifele loses it completely. Okay. I don't even think Bennington makes a save. He goes to cut in front, loses it, and the puck squirts out and hits off his skate before contact's even made.
So the point that I want to make here is that Jimmy Snuggerud is back checking his ass off, and he's on a line with Jordan Kyrou, who's nowhere to be seen here, right? So I love this about his game. He is trying so hard at both ends of the ice. It's an unfortunate play. I think I agree with his assessment of the play. It's one of those things that just happens.
Now I'll say I'm not only faulting Snuggerud. What the fuck are you doing, Nick Leddy?
Stay on your fucking right? Skate, he lost his edge. It looked like he's
excellent skater, Nick Leddy. I know he did. I know he did. But I'm saying that shouldn't happen on a play like that. Like,
it should.
Nick Leddy getting walked like that cannot happen in a game like this. But I'm sorry. I'm going to stand firm. I've watched this replay a million times. I do not like Snuggerud's angle. I think he's coming in to lay a shoulder on Scheifele, and that is all that's going to do is cause an injury to your goalie if he connects. Not a fan of the way he played that.
No, I think if you're gonna crash the net, I think you got to pay the price. And I think Snuggerud was trying to make him pay the price. I think he was just a hair late getting there. If he's a half a stride or less earlier, he cuts him off. And maybe it's different. But it's a hustle play. There's nothing lazy about it. I think I'm not going to get on a guy at all for some kind of fluky thing that happens because he's busting his ass. I think it was I think if this play happens 99 times, it goes in this one time.
I don't call this a fluke. I don't call this luck.
It's absolutely a fluke. He loses the puck and it goes off his skate. How is that not fluky?
Because Snuggerud's trying to drive a guy into his goalie.
So what? He's playing aggressive hockey.
Okay, so hurt your goalie and get Joel Hofer in there.
He's not going to.
That's a smart idea.
How many times do you see defensemen check guys and where they end up hitting the goalie? It happens all the time.
Right.
I know, and they shouldn't.
So
you can't let a guy just walk in front either. You can't let him do that.
What I'm saying. You lead with your stick, not with your shoulder.
He's not getting that puck with his stick. Scheifele's
He's not getting it with his shoulder.
He's not going for the puck. He's trying to stop him from cutting front.
He's trying to shove a guy into his goal.
No, he's trying to cut him off.
He's trying to make a play on the player.
He's trying to cut him off.
Now, I will say, I would be a bit conflicted on this if the player that we're talking about coming back is Tyler Tucker. At that point, yes, he's trying to drive a guy into his goalie because, well, that's something Tyler Tucker would do. In this case, I think it's Jimmy Snuggerud identifying that, one of the most dangerous guys on the ice has just walked my defenseman. I am going to do whatever I can to get myself between him and my goalie. And he was a hair late, like Kurt said.
I think you guys have prospect blinders on.
I'd much rather him be physical in front than to give a wave by with the stick. I'd much rather.
So if that happens again and he hurts Jordan Binnington, you guys are just gonna say the same thing.
I don't think
chances of him hurting Binnington are rare.
Right.
We saw Barrett Jackman do that to Yaroslav Halak.
What year
Same
was that?
exact play.
What year was that?
2011,
Okay,
2012.
so every 14 years.
Why do you have to rip
But
that scab off?
we were on this show talking about how Barrett Jackman made a bad play, and now that Snuggerud does it, it's okay.
Well, let's compare the plays side by side. I'd like to see them.
And let's also compare the points of their career where they're in. The thing that I don't mind about Snuggerud doing this is he is showing such a high hockey IQ. He is learning every shift. He is learning and evolving. He is going to make a better play the next time this scenario unfolds. And I think that is absolutely, game 2 of a 7-game series. I love him making this or attempting to make this play. If he would have dogged it back and we'd been like, oh great, we got another Kyrou, we'd all be pissed. And he didn't do that, right?
And I'll agree with that. I think I watched that replay. My first thought is, what the fuck, Snuggerud? Second thought is, what the fuck, Letty? Third thing is, where the fuck is Jordan Kyrou? He's not even in the fucking screen.
And I think that's
the fastest player in the league. So I agree with that assessment. I prefer the hustle over the laziness, but I also think I don't like his approach to that.
Kyrou's not even on the ice.
I thought he was. He's not.
No, it's Thomas, Bolduc, Parayko, Letty.
I think it was
Oh,
Bolduc.
that's right. That's right, because we still haven't talked about the fuck nut decision to go to Ken said this, asked our opinion about this, about dressing 7 defensemen and 11 forwards. I fucking hated that decision, and I think that maybe that's part of this, right? Is Snuggerud, it maybe part of his decision making is overcompensating for being unfamiliar with his line mates in this situation.
Yeah,
but let's get into that talk.
I absolutely agree with you on that. This was a big thing that Berube was doing. What was that, the 22 playoffs, where it was like, oh well, we're gonna play 7 defensemen every game. No. I've never. Again, I equate it to batting your pitcher 8th. You're just making lineup changes to overcoach. I hate that. I hate it. Unless it's like we've got a guy. Let's just say Nicholas Lidstrom. You got a guy like Nicholas Lidstrom on your team. He's banged up. He's hurt. We only want him to play special teams. Okay, a situation like that, I'm cool with that. But we don't have that guy on this team. Nobody will ever have that guy on this team. So, yeah, I hate the 11-7. And if they do it again in game 3, they will lose.
I am looking forward to game 3 to hopefully the Blues can use the last change advantage to have a better third period, because they have not had good matchups in the third period, especially 5-on-5. They have not been able to break through. So I'm looking forward to hopefully the last change will allow the Blues to play a little better 5-on-5, get some better matchups. That's the only thing. That's the main thing that I'm holding out hope for, because I think Winnipeg is such a good team that it might come down to the Blues having to win their home games. And I've said this before every year. So if you lose the first 2 on the road, I think Justin may have said that he's not worried. I'm not worried right now. I'm not worried at all. Only because, the goal is in a 7-game series against a team like Winnipeg, you're hoping to steal one in their building at some point. and you got to win your home games.
I really thought you were going to say the goal in a series like playing against Winnipeg is to win the series.
Well, obviously, but you want to win one in their building, steal home ice, and then you got to win your home games. And the Blues have won 12 straight at home, so they have that going for them. They do play very well at home. I'm looking forward to having the last change, and if they can win these next two at home, because you really have to, right? You don't want to go down 3-0 or 3-1, obviously. So you even up at 2, and then it's a best of 3. And you got to win one game of the final 2 in their building, as long as you win your home games. If you win your home games, they got 2 more cracks to win one game in Winnipeg.
Yep.
That's the way you got to look at it.
Right. These are the 2 hottest teams on home ice, right? Going into the playoffs, and Winnipeg held serve. It's our turn.
Did you guys notice this? Ken Morris says it seemed in one period Fowler sat a bit. I did not notice that. Did you guys?
I have to pull up the shift log. I didn't notice it either.
Yeah, no, you keep a shift log? Which
game?
Shift log.
Shift. I do keep a shit log. Which game was it?
Log earlier.
Which game was it that they say?
It was the second game. It was the game when we dressed inexplicably 70 and decided Tyler Tucker needed to try to be out there to hold pucks in at the wrong point.
Let's see the shift chart here.
Speaking of holding pucks in and Cam Fowler, we didn't mention it in game 1. What about that keep in on the Thomas goal? When the puck was squirting out, his skates and his entire body is past the blue line, and he just reaches forward and chips it right up to Thomas. Beautiful play.
You know what?
Kind of thing that we did not see before we had Cam Fowler.
2 times in this game. 2 times Fowler sat a little bit. He had a shift in the second period that ended at the 31:54 mark of the game. And then his next shift wasn't until 36:25. So 4.5 minutes, almost 5 minutes. And then in the third period, he had a shift end at the 49:10 mark of the game. And his next one was at 53:44. So 4.5 minutes or so. Interesting.
So what about Parayko? I guess that's my thing, because there was the one play in the third period where Parayko got in a foot race and looked like he was 75 years old.
I'll say skating on cement.
Yeah. It was clear he was so far from 100%. It was why if we had, and at that point is when I started questioning, like, really, why the hell did we decide to go 7 defensemen? Is it because they really think that Parayko's that injured? And if he is, sit him, right? If he is going to be that much of a detraction from a solid defensive game, just sit him. Do I like that they're gonna throw Tyler Tucker and make him play the wrong point? No, but I would almost rather Parayko sit and they bring up Matthew Kessel if that's going to be what this series comes down to, right?
Or I think something you could do there too is if you still want to play Parayko for possible penalty kill power play, you could just give him third line minutes. You've been fine without him for the end of the season. Have him play in a Nicoletti type role, give him 10 minutes a game, and let Falk and Fowler and Broberg do all the work that they've been doing to end the season. I agree. If he's hurt, and I've always said this, if a player's hurt, I would, unless they are just like Wayne Gretzky, don't play him. For one, you don't want to jeopardize his future. Like, Colton Parayko is the number 1 defenseman on this team for the next 2-3 years at least. Let's not jeopardize that future. And 2, he's not playing like himself. So, and we saw that. How long did we see this with Parayko with his back issues? And that's the way he played in this game.
Right. And if anybody wants to say, well, it's all about the heart, right? And Parayko showing so much heart playing, let's go back to 2019 and how ineffective Zdeno Chara was in that series after he broke his jaw. He put himself in the lineup every fucking night, and he was not great.
Hey, if this is all about heart, put me in there. I'll have the most heart out of anybody on the ice.
I'm gonna revisit the question of whether he sat or not. I don't think he did. The gap that I mentioned, that's not unusual for players, I guess, based on power play, penalty kill, things happen on the ice.
And especially when you have 7 defensemen.
Yeah,
Right?
7. That's
right.
What I
He wasn't sat.
he was still the number 2 ice time getter.
Yeah, and every defenseman for both teams has a gap like that at some point in the game, just for various matchup reasons, or like say if you don't play the PK or whatever. So
I take that back. Number 2 ice time getter for defensemen. Falk led with 2050, Fowler 2017, Parayko 1959.
Right, and that's just way too much for Parayko's current shape.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think because Broberg was at 1624 at number 4.
Broberg was great.
I'll say I would swap those two. Play Broberg more. I think he's playing fine.
Yeah, but you go back to your earlier comment when we're in the hockey stat card discussion, and in game 1, maybe he wasn't terribly effective, but he also, at least on the positive side of things, but the guy that sat in this game was Matthew Joseph, right? And I thought we could have used some better forechecking, and that's what he's going to bring to the game. Not having him in there and then doing the line shuffle, and really it was Robert Thomas that was getting double shifted, and he looked tired at the end of the game.
This goes to show, I'm looking at deserved to win meter for this game. This goes to show how well the Blues goaltender played. Actually, honestly, both goalies. Deserved to win meter for this game. Blues at 25.2% and Winnipeg at 74.8%. So this, judging by deserved to win meter and then looking at the stat cards, this should have been a Winnipeg blowout easily. But Jason kept the minute, and again, you mentioned it again. Parayko and Leddy, 2 worst players on the ice analytically, and that just cannot happen. That has to stop.
In each of the first 2 games, shots on net for the Blues have decreased as the game has went on, period by period. So that's something too. It's like the first game, 9 shots in the first, 6 in the second, 2 in the third. That's pathetic. And then the second game, 10 shots, then 7, then 5. Yeah. So that's
5 shots in the third period. It's almost like they could have used 4 full lines.
Right. It's that was so painful to watch, and the player so far. Maybe we can go into discussion about who's been the biggest disappointment for you guys at this point.
I mean, it's got to be Parayko, but we've already discussed him. So, oh man, I don't know. I mean, Joel Hofer hasn't done shit yet.
he botched a couple of gate openings. I noticed that as a backup goalie, that is an art. And there were a couple times he was just checking out chicks in the stands.
I gotta go with something Kurt brought up mid-season when this question was asked. I want to see more out of Toropchenko. And I know that he's a bottom 6 guy, but he brings a lot of energy. Somebody posted a goal that he scored against Minnesota, and what was that, 21, 22, whatever playoff year that was. And he was just driving the net and just, looked like a monster out there. And I don't feel like we mentioned the forecheck. I think his forecheck game's been off. And really that whole fourth line. And again, I know it's ridiculous to call out a fourth line for not playing top hockey, but like, this is playoffs. You need all of your lines rolling hard. And I just think that fourth line has not been as effective as we've seen them be the last 3 months.
I think Walker, for the role that he's played on the team this season, as an instigator, as a guy just to kind of just a little wrecking ball out there and just making things happen, getting under people's skin. I'd like to see more of that from him. I mean, to be nitpicky, I could pick out, bigger names than on this team. Like I'd like to see Bolduc, pot one here in the third game. I'd like to see Leddy play a little better. But like Walker, like in the 2019, that fourth line was so important. They made plays, they made things happen. If they weren't scoring, they were just they were making things happen on the ice as far as generating chances, dishing out some hits, making plays. I want to see more of that from that line, especially Walker. The guy who just does not stop, and he gives us all every shift. I'd love to see him kind of break through and do something to fire up the team, like his role was this season.
What about you, Bill?
So Kurt mentioned him, but Bolduc. So I expected him to have a big game 2 after taking that bad penalty in game 1. Right, I thought he would come out more focused and fire some more pucks on net, but he's not finding space. He's not getting open, and I thought we were desperately missing him in that ability to find the quiet area and get shots off. Hellebuck showed in game 1 that he is vulnerable up top, and Bolduc can pick those spots. And I've been very disappointed that he hasn't been able to do that so far in the series, especially in game 2. So,
and I'll say, I know they've only scored 4 goals in 2 games. I think the top guys,
4. Yeah, 4. You're at 4. My bad. 4 goals.
I think the top guys on this team have played really well. Jordan Kyrou, I've loved his game. Robert Thomas has looked great. So for those of you who might remember, if you listened to the show back then, the last 2 playoffs the Blues are in, I called out Robert Thomas and said, I just don't think he's been elite. He has not been the type of player we know he can be. I think he's looked great to open this series. Again, he's only got 1 goal, and maybe I don't know. He doesn't even have an assist. I think he's only got the 1 goal.
I thought the point streak stayed alive in game 2.
2 games played, 1 goal. Nope.
So the point streak got broken.
Well, point streak was broken. Yep. So I think he's played really well.
I think, but not generating points 5-on-5.
Right.
That's an issue.
Right. And that's Winnipeg's been the best 5-on-5 team in the NHL all season, right? And that they have completely dominated that. The face-offs, right? I think they have really dominated face-offs, especially in their defensive zone.
I think this goes back to what Kurt said earlier, is I think coming home, last change, 5-on-5, I think is going to be a major factor in game 3.
Here's the thing, though. I think so. With as much trouble as it is to score 5-on-5 against Winnipeg, the Blues got 2 power play goals in the first game, and so they broke through. They scored a few on Hellebuck. They had a lead in the third period. They didn't really need 5-on-5 scoring up until the third. They had 2 power play goals. Special teams were great. And they blew that chance to steal that 1 game in Winnipeg. I think if that game may be the difference in the series when it comes down to it. If the Blues can manage to win a game in St. Louis here, as opposed to let's say they split in St. Louis, as opposed to being tied 2-2 going back to Winnipeg, they'd be down 3-1. And I think that first game may come back to haunt them. They couldn't hold on to that lead. They got 3 goals. They got around the 5-on-5 issues by scoring on the power play a couple times, which was great. And they had a chance to win that game, and they couldn't close it out.
I think if the Blues were to win game 1, as we all hoped they would, I think even if they get blown out in game 2, let's say Winnipeg wins 5-0, I still think they come back to game 3 with the momentum, because they're the team that's playing with house money, right? Like, they're the team that shouldn't be here, and they've got a 1-1 tie with the President's Trophy winning team. Like, I think that first game would have been a massive swing for the Blues' favor throughout this entire series.
Yep. And I hope when the series is over, I hope that's not the game that we look back on thinking, man, if we had just closed that game out. Yeah. Right.
Unfortunately, in terms of wins in the series, this is exactly how I thought it would go. I thought Winnipeg wins the first 2. I thought Blues win game 3. Winnipeg takes 4. Blues take 5. Winnipeg takes 6. That was kind of what my thought was. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see the Blues get 2 wins at home, force a game 6, and then at that point you're tied. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I'm not, and like I said before, I'm not concerned now, but I'm just I'm concerned that it might later we look back on game one. But like I said, you're coming home. You had to win your home games anyway, pretty much, right? So you couldn't. It'd be tough to win this series if you lost a home game. You have to win 2 in Winnipeg. So you had to win your home games anyway. So just win your home games and then work on winning one of the next 2 in Winnipeg. That's what you got to do.
Yep. I agree. And so I got some stats here. Only 53 teams have come back from an 0-2 hole in the series out of 393 instances in the NHL. That is a 13.5% success rate. This season, the Blues went 24-14-3 at home during the regular season, as opposed to 20-16-5 on the road. And they are currently riding, is it a 12-game
12
home winning streak?
12 game.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly the odds are forever in the Blues' favor for home cooking, right?
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever, and if you're looking for an edge for the Blues in Game 3, you can look at their home record and the fact that they've won 12 straight. They get less change. There's a lot of positives to look for if you're down being on the team being 0-2, which I get. But if you're looking for some positivity, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. And going back to the point I made earlier about game one coming down to one bad matchup, that doesn't happen, right? Unless we get a bad icing and can't make a change. It
Right.
shouldn't happen in the 2 games that we have here. So yeah,
we didn't really talk too much about not having Holloway either. That's
right.
That's been a problem because I mean, against a team like Winnipeg, God, he's such a dynamic guy.
Right. You need the one thing that we haven't been doing great about, and I think this is kind of emblematic of when you talked about Toropchenko being disappointing, is we haven't had anybody that really the speed has forced Winnipeg's defense to scramble, right?
Yep.
And Holloway would be that guy. And
you would expect a Kyrou to step up, and I hate to dog on Kyrou, and because I think he has played fine. I would love to see him take that next step, though. I want to see Kyrou forcing the Jets to turn the puck over in the offensive zone, which he did a lot in the regular season. Like, I thought once Montgomery came in, Kyrou really did step up in being able to block passing plays, steal pucks, even kind of forecheck and get into the boards. And we just haven't seen that yet. And again, I think coming home, maybe that changes in his game and everyone else's game. But yeah, I think missing a Holloway, which is so funny, right? Because like going into the season, you're just like, oh, that guy was like kind of the throw-in to make sure the Blues got Broberg. That's not the case. Dylan Holloway is the driver of this offense.
He is a player, right? He is. God, if we have him, I think we're not coming back 2-0 in a hole. But
well, I mean, it's in 2 tight games in the third period, right?
Right.
I mean, he's the guy that could have been the difference. So it is what it is. They haven't even talked about him skating, so I doubt he's in line to return at all in this series.
Right. And don't try to do, like, with such a young guy who's got a leg injury, don't try to make him the emotional, like, oh, look, he's going to play, even though he's, at 40%. Don't do that with him. Let him heal properly. The rest, we've been in these games. Let the team do the job at home.
So I'll say, I don't know if you saw anything from the Blues mass today, but it does look like we might see Alexander Texier drawn in the lineup.
I hope so.
I think that's the way to go.
I like his upside offensively. Was he playing in place of Foxa?
I have not seen who he'd be in the place for.
Yeah, I think it would be they go back to traditional
good
6 and 12, and he replaces Matthew Joseph, who again I just don't think Joseph's a Montgomery guy.
No. I've kind of liked what Texier has brought in spurts this season, so I'm sure he's itching to get in the lineup. So I like that if it happens.
Practice today, it looks like. So they gave Thomas the day off, but Montgomery did say that he's fine. Just wanted to give him the day off. Joseph skated in Thomas's place, which tells me Joseph's likely out, and then Texier skated with Sundqvist and Bolduc. So I like that because we've seen too, like Texier when he comes in, he's not just a 5-on-5 guy. They've been putting him on the power play, and I think he looks very comfortable.
Right.
So
his
I like
offensive, his offensive upside is much better than Joseph. Joseph's the banger type, and that's what you got to rely on the fourth line to do. So I can get that with this. I think that would be a smart move. And Tyler
adds
Tucker,
a little bit more offensive structure to you.
Yeah, as long as it's Tyler Tucker drawing out, and they make the right decisions with Parayko's ice time.
Yeah,
and that should hopefully help with that would be last change too. So
yeah,
yep. Well, let's get into it. What Justin Scott asked us, and he's been asking us in the chat, and we're getting to it now, Justin. He says, "What's y'all's game 3 predictions?" Ken Morris says 4-2 Blues. We've said it a million times on the show. We're not the biggest fans of making predictions. But I do think we see a Blues win in game 3. I'm going to go 3-1 for the St. Louis Blues. And I think Alexander Texier gets himself a point.
I'm going to say 4-1.
Blues.
4-1 Blues.
Or
Yep.
Jets.
Okay. 4-1 Blues. I think because the Blues have to win this game. They go down 3-0. It's, essentially over, right? Obviously. So you got to win this game. You got to think the Blues are going to come out hard. And if it's a close game going into the third period, if it's tied or, up by 1, down by 1, they had better put together a good third period because they have not yet. They've got to have an answer for what Winnipeg's doing. And like I said before a couple times, the last change has to give them the edge in the third period. If it doesn't, then it's going to be rough.
I'm start calling you Kurt the last change price.
I mean, if you can't get the edge, with having the last change, especially late in the game when matchups are more important, right? Then if you don't get the edge from doing that, then you're in trouble. Because it's every little thing matters in the playoffs, and that's a big deal. So, they got to take advantage of that.
So I'm going to agree with Ken Morris here. It's going to be a 4-2 Blues win, but this is heavily predicated on surviving the first 5 minutes, because I think Winnipeg is going to come out and try to end the series in the first 5 minutes of this game. I think that they're going to try to make the Blues make mistakes, feeding off the emotions of the fans, right? The Blues are going to be pumped up, and I think they'll try to make mistakes. If the Blues can weather that storm, I think that we're going to come out on top. I think it'll be 4-2 with one empty net goal thrown in there.
I think you're going to see a monster hit early on from Braden Shen. That's another one of my predictions. I think he is going to come out and cause absolute havoc with a hit early on.
So real quick, Dallas has just tied the game on a power play where Nathan McKinnon was in the box for probably the worst penalty I've ever seen him take. Just a lazy tripping penalty in the neutral zone.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just saw that too. Wow.
I think the Blues score in the first 5 minutes of this game, maybe earlier. I think the Blues. Which game was it in 2019 where they were down in the series and they came back home and they scored early?
Well, the Sharks game after the terrible.
That's what it
fall,
was.
They did that. Yeah.
That's what it was. I think it was O'Reilly, right? Wraparound.
I think it was Barbashev.
Was Barbashev? Okay.
Yeah,
Either way,
coming in off the boards.
Yeah. So that's I think
weird
the Blues
things that we remember so vividly from that run, right?
I think the Blues. Just things that would be just so beneficial. The Blues come out strong, fend off any attempt of Winnipeg to try and end this series right here early in the game and score first. Score first in the first 5 minutes, and just play a well-rounded game. Play your game. Get back to what you did during the 12-game win streak. Matchups. I don't know. I'm just throwing out words.
You're throwing out buzzwords.
I ran out of things to say. I'm like, I think I've said everything I wanted to say about this.
That's what I love to do in like business meetings, by the way, is I'll just go like yeah, like cohesion,
synergy.
Synergy.
Get a 5-on-5 goal. Get a 5-on-5 goal in the first 5 minutes. And then get a power play goal later in the game, cup and pot and empty netter when it's 3-1, make it 4-1.
So my favorite Price, Keith Price, jumps in the chat here.
Oh,
he says
God.
this series is due for an overtime.
No, not right. Not in game 3.
I will say,
No.
I will say,
I will die of a heart attack.
As much as my heart cannot handle it, a overtime win in game 3 for the Blues, that is a momentum boost.
It would be big.
I would hate to have to make myself live through it, but if they win, oh my Lord, the jubilation in this city.
Do you know what would happen? Okay, so if game 3 goes to overtime and the Blues lose,
oof,
it would feel like they've lost the series on that goal. Like it would feel like, okay, we've lost. But then you got to play the next game. And if they lose the next game, then you feel like you've lost the series twice.
Yeah.
Right. And it's we have to play that stupid noon time slot on Sunday.
Yeah.
So oh God. Losing a series on an afternoon game, that's the worst.
Yep.
Oh God. No, they gotta win game 3. Got to, have to. Must happen.
Yep. Agree. Well, next up for the Blues, of course, game 3 tomorrow night versus Winnipeg at 8:30. Game 4 will be Sunday, as we just mentioned, at noon in St. Louis. Game 5, if necessary, will be next Wednesday. Times are TBD for the 3 games that are not sure if we'll have them or not. Game 6 will be Friday, and then game 7 would be Sunday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. So if that happens, hopefully Star Wars, hopefully Darth Vader is a Blues fan. So let's get into a little bit more of the talk around the NHL. First of all, did you guys see the national anthem in LA in game 1?
Only when you posted it in the outline.
That was incredible.
I didn't watch it.
Loved it. It was a harmonica national anthem. So it was like I'm forgetting the name of it's probably in the video. Let me look. It was some Asian society. Yeah, the harmonica class from the Koreatown Senior and Community Center in LA. And they literally just got up and played the harmonica for the national anthem. People sang along in the stadium. It's funny because when you watch the video or if you saw it live, it's like people seemed so confused at first because they're like, huh? And then people started singing it and the place just erupted. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, the harmonica playing, not particularly good. But the whole thing with the crowd singing is cool. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I am all for weird national anthems. I don't like the terrible singing like the was it the Fergie or the Steven Tyler, but like when you do something
Roseanne
different
Barr.
like this, I love that. And this was cool. I loved it. Did you see what Paul Bissonnette said about game 2?
No.
So apparently they asked these people to come back and do game 2, and they said that apparently this whatever this senior community center is, apparently they turned it down. And they said the reason is because they need to rest after game 1.
That's funny.
That was like true story. I'm not making this up.
That's
fun. But anyway, so that was fun. I love that. But other series is going on. You guys mentioned right now we're watching Dallas and Colorado. Third period, 10 minutes ish left. 1-1. Sorry, 9 minutes.
8:42.
Probably, yeah.
Sorry, 8:42.
Bill's always ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
It's because I'm closer
over.
to the city,
Bill's already seen the whole game. It went to overtime. But yeah, so this has been an interesting series. And then any other ones you guys are watching? I mean, obviously, Bill, you're watching the Montreal series closely, but
Toronto
Toronto's
that was going up on Ottawa. That
I'm rooting for Toronto. I can't believe it, but man, I gotta root for Chief.
Yeah, that game last night, I so wanted Ottawa to win, and but I also can't bring myself to cheer. And I was going to ask you guys this earlier. Do you think that David Perrod, like when he comes back to the bench, if Mike Yeo tries to say something to him, he's like, "Shut up, just shut up." No, you've lost all credibility with me, buddy.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, don't talk to me.
I'm just imagining.
Oh, the Oilers have got within a goal.
I'm just imagining a situation where, like, Mike Yeo comes up to Perron. He's like, "Hey, on that play, you should hit the boards a little quicker, and that way you've got an outlet for blah 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 blah." And then he's like, "Hey, Coach Green, what do you think?" "Well, I think if you hit the boards a little quicker, and oh, you're right. Okay, I should probably do that. Yeah, thank you, Coach Green."
or Perron, leans over and says, "Hey, Chief, what should I do here?"
Yeah, Chief, how would you have me handle this?
Can you imagine if Berube leads the Maple Leafs to the Cup this year? What kind of legacy Berube would have all of a sudden?
Oh my God!
I mean,
he's a Stanley Cup winner.
First, doing what he did with the Blues, which is amazing, and then Toronto, he'd be a god in Toronto.
And Philly would try to hire him right away.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like he got such a bad shake there, and I was actually happy for him, not just because of the Blues, but I was happy for him that he got another coaching chance, because I thought when he got fired, I remember even thinking like, dude, that guy he's got a shit roster, and he was okay as a coach. What the hell? You're letting him go that early? But yeah, obviously turned out well for him.
Can both Dallas and Colorado lose this series, please? I hate both teams.
Go to 7 games with massive injuries on both fronts.
That's what I was going to say. So I think you guys agree. I root every series that does not include the Blues. I hope goes Game 7.
Oh,
every single
for sure.
series.
For sure.
So even though I'm like, I want Toronto to win, give me Game 7, give me 8 overtimes. I want that in every series.
I think I'm pulling for Dallas, and it feels wrong, but I mean, it's Colorado. How do you root for Colorado? I'm pulling for Dallas.
Yeah, no,
Jamie Benn.
No. He needs to contract gonorrhea or
he probably already has.
break an ankle. He just had a brilliant goal in that game to tie it up.
Well, he's not going to get mouth herpes.
This is true.
No.
This is true. I have to go for, and I want Rantanen to play a big part in the series. But yeah, cannot cheer for Colorado. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. And I know I'm hated by Blues fans for saying this, but I do have an affinity for Dallas since I did live there for a short time.
Blah,
but
blah, blah, blah.
But again, it's if they're playing
too.
What?
Oh, and just the things that we always hear you talk about.
Oh, yes. I was in the media. Yes, of course. No, yeah. So, and I've got friends in Dallas. So I got friends in southern places.
Fucking ESPN, put the fucking shots on the fucking screen.
Yeah, I know. It's
look up. You have no idea how many shots each team has. Every other fucking network does the goddamn shots on the fucking scorebug.
What I've got 23-17. It's on mine.
They put this fucking there you go. Leave it up there. Leave it. They flash up every now and then. Leave it on the fucking screen.
I still don't see shots. I wish I could see shots.
Jesus.
When are shots coming? I need to see the shots.
30 seconds later.
Man, I wish they put the shots on the screen.
It's so funny. I yelled and they put it up, and it's been up for a while now.
I still
but they take it down for they flash up every now and then, but I'm like, why leave it up? Everybody else has shots on screen. God, even Bally's does it, or FanDuel, whatever.
Well, tough loss for your Habs. In game was that Game 1. I didn't see the game tonight, but Ovechkin. How weird is that? Alex Ovechkin, almost a 900 goal scorer in the regular season, won a Stanley Cup. That was his first overtime playoff goal.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
Right. It was funny. It was funny that I saw a still shot of when he scored his overtime goal. It was like, here's how the Habs lost this game. Like, there's 900 goals sitting in at the top of the crease, unattended, and there's like 4 Habs players crashing the guy at the side of the net behind the goal. I was like, that's why.
Yeah, that was a young team making a young team mistake, but
you get so excited, you just go after the puck and you forget responsibilities. I don't know.
Yeah,
guys, we've got a celebrity. We've got a celebrity here. We got a celebrity in the chat. Captain Obvious from those commercials has joined the chat, and he says it's not good for Winnipeg if we tie the series. Sorry, Justin.
Let me ask Justin. Would it be helpful for the Blues if they were to score more goals than Winnipeg in Game 3?
Sorry, Justin. Just having fun with you, buddy.
So 4-2 Kings. Adrian Kempe with a snipe on Stu Skinner. Oof.
Oh, let's turn that on too. All right,
having both games on. I love this.
Yeah, I wish I could get that. That would be nice. Yeah, we got Ken Morris here. Tom Wilson is like a wrecking ball out there. Obviously you can make the case for a couple players, but like the first player that comes to mind for me of a player you absolutely hate but would love to have on your team, Tom Wilson, 100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have actually thought that he's been a bit of a liability so far in the series. But Montreal just hasn't been able to capitalize enough. So.
This might have to be our screenshot tomorrow from Justin Scott. Okay, dickweeds.
You have been banned for 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all right, Doug Vaughn. All right. Anything else?
I will agree with Ken Morris. The Habs need to dress Wi-Fi. Arbor Xhekaj is missing, but they've been so close in this series so far. And like I said, tonight was Logan Thompson stealing a game, and he made one incredible save. Puck should absolutely have gone in, and he made a scramble save, thing of beauty, and then shut the Canadians down when it mattered, and they got an empty netter, 3-1 win.
So I've got I don't think I've ever told you this yet, Bill, but when the Blues played the Habs earlier this year, the first game, which was like November or something, I showed my wife Xhekaj's name, and I said, "How do you pronounce this?" And of course, she said like Zikash or something, and then I said, "No, it's Xhekaj," and she goes, "Okay, you're just pronouncing his name backwards," and I'm like, "That's actually almost correct."
Yep, his name is the weirdest anagram, right?
Yeah, like I could actually see Xhekaj a little bit more if we were to pronounce that backwards.
Yeah, he's great. My favorite, it may be my all-time favorite nickname, Wi-Fi.
Trees said his dickweed is swear. Sounds like a dehydrated seasoning that you buy at Schnucks.
I went out to Pedsy's last night and got some dickweed.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was something that like you would get in like those gas station bathrooms.
Something you drop in a drink.
Yeah, I'll take some dickweed, please. Oh man!
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't see this. Ken Morris says Patrick Laine is invisible out there and was benched in the third.
He played a lot on the power play tonight, and that there was a sequence in the second period tonight where it was like Washington knew the playbook because Laine was just set up in Ovechkin's office, and Lane Hudson doesn't shoot the puck. It just doesn't happen. And so they just kept letting it happen. And they would crowd the slot in front of Laine, and you'd have to pass it back to Hudson. Hudson would throw it down to Suzuki, who would try to force a pass through, and it would be a turnover. It was they're actually Washington is playing them great.
Yeah, Laine, his last shift was what? He almost didn't play the entire third period. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play the entire third period.
Yep.
His last shift was at the 39:22 mark of the game.
I'm glad Captain Obvious has made his second appearance for the show, as he is just repeating exactly what Ken Morris just said. I'm making fun of you, Kurt.
No, I said somebody. What did he say? He was benched in the third. He didn't say the entire third. I thought maybe like the second half of the third period. I was like, I didn't know, and I was like, oh, it was the entire.
He fact checked him.
It was the entire third period. I thought maybe he was benched the last half of the third period, but not the entire third.
No, it felt like watching that game. It felt like Montreal played two lines the entire third period, and it was the Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky line with Dvorak, Evans, and Josh Anderson. It was like those six were always, it was only those six that played the third.
I love Waterbugs comment here in the YouTube chat. Stands to reason Washington knows how to stop someone camping on the dot. Yeah,
right. It's almost like they've every day.
I was gonna say it's almost like they've seen it 896 times.
Oof. 5-2 Los Angeles. Anjay Kopitar.
Love it. Fuck you, Stan Bowman. All right.
Broberg would have cut that pass off.
Damn right. Anything else, boys?
No. I'm ready for game 3 tomorrow. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, that extra hour wait's gonna be painful.
Yeah, the 8:30 start. Yeah, and the thing that sucks, and I already told my team, because I got a roller game tomorrow night at 9:20. I'm like, can we just forfeit and skip? I would much rather watch the game. So we'll see if that happens. I hope. It's the one time. This is the one time a year where I'm like, I don't want to play hockey. I just want to watch it. That's it. Yep. Game 3 tomorrow. And also, I think I mentioned this maybe 2 weeks ago. I am up to 4 Let's Go Blues minutes a week. So again, make sure you tune in to Let's Go Blues Minute. Find it on your favorite podcasting app. I prefer Podbean. We're on Apple, Spotify, everything. So yeah, just find us there. Having a lot of fun with the show. Actually had a Major League reference thrown in today at the very start of Pedro Serrano giving a cigar and whiskey to Jobu. So make sure to include that in the show. But yeah, having a lot of fun with the show. So make sure you tune in for that if you want just kind of random blue stuff every single day.
Yeah, and you get to figure out, or get to not figure out, but hear, who had the better puck doku plays.
Lately, it's been you almost every single week. But I think I beat you tonight. But of course, I'm not doing a show tomorrow, so nobody's going to hear that.
We tied tonight, I thought, 3-3.
When I looked, I had it had marked me down to a 1.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
cheater.
Yep.
Cheater.
So yeah, I had a 1. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it because I'm hosting the show. Yeah, I had a 1. Bob Rouse was my number 1 play at 0.2. Oh, that's not the right one. And then you had a 3, and you had the best play. You had, which Graham is that?
That's
Colorado
Ron Graham.
and Ron Graham between the Colorado Avalanche and the NCAA.
Yeah, he played for the Quebec Nordiques and University of Denver.
John Graham's uncle? Is that right?
It's his dad.
Dad. Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. But I also played Blues legend Roman Turek. So there's that.
Nice. Yeah. I played Blues legend Greg Gilbert as well.
What's eating Greg Gilbert grape?
Mm-hmm. Justin Scott, Jeff, I should have asked you to go to the game. I'm guessing you have tickets tomorrow. Well, have fun, sir. Should be a hell of a game. Let's hope. You'll be up late. So another reason I don't miss the media. Those 8:30 games in the playoffs fucking sucked.
Be over with probably after 11. Ugh.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I went to the one, it was that 2012 when the Blues played the Sharks and they went 2 overtimes at an 8:30 start. I don't think I literally left because I had to write up something too and pull a bunch of audio and send it in.
Was that game 3? Was that the one where Jackman got hurt? No, Halak got hurt in that game.
That was game. I believe it was game 1.
Oh,
yeah, it was.
Oh, game 1. Game 1. Sorry,
yeah.
game 1.
Because
Halak got hurt.
Yeah,
right?
That was my thing, right? Halak.
Yeah.
We got this guy for the playoffs.
Yep.
And Barrett Jackman fucked him over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hurt game 1.
Second time we brought that up in this show.
I believe it was Martin Havlat who had the overtime goal. But yeah, I don't think
I was at that game.
I don't think I left the rink until 3 a.m. That fucking sucked. So yeah, that was brutal. I could tell the Enterprise staff was like, get the fuck out. But I had to finish my write-up. It had to be done, had to be turned in by 4. So I was like, I'm sorry, I got to stay. I'm not driving home. All right, well, let's do it. Thanks to our amazing sponsor, strikewithmike.com, as well as, need to put this in my notes, 60 Pickleball as well. Make sure you use that 10% off code.
It's 12% now. Got to update the video. 12%, yeah.
Oh, you got to up to 12. Nice.
Up to 12, yeah.
So is it still C price 10 or
C price
is it
10? Yeah.
Okay. So the code is C price 10. I don't play pickleball, but I have pickleball apparel now because of that awesome code. So make sure you check that out. 60pickleball.com.
You know, there are a lot of people that don't play hockey, but they wear hockey jerseys. So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah, and I wear it because they have some comfortable stuff. That shirt I got, I love that shirt. I wear it all the time.
It's one of those stretchier materials. Yeah, it's nice.
Yep. So that'll wrap up episode 30 of season 14 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We'll talk with you next week. For Bill Day and Kurt Price, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, fuck the Jets, fuck Kyle Connor, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues. Need a win.
Stop Kyle Connor. Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to #1. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more, no matter what the score. They are quite a hockey team, my friend.